Hey there YouTube, what's going on? Son of Sanguinius here, and today we're going to be continuing our Blood Angels Tactics videos with a look at the Rhino, the first fast attack choice in the Blood Angels Codex. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So the Rhino comes in at 45 points. It is Blessed Skill 4, front armor 11, side armor 11, and rear armor 10 with 3 hull points. For war gear, it has Stormbolter, overcharged engines, a searchlight, and smoke launchers. Special rules: it has repair. If a Rhino is immobilized, then in subsequent turns it may attempt to repair itself instead of shooting. To make the attempt, roll a d6 in the shooting phase. On the roll of a 6, the vehicle is no longer immobilized. Note that a successful repair does not restore a hull point. Alright, and for transport, its transport capacity is 10 models, and it cannot carry models with the bulky, very bulky, or extremely bulky special rules. It has 2 fire points, it only has 1 fire point, but 2 models can fire from the top hatch of the Rhino. And access points: the Rhino has 1 access point on each side of the hull, and 1 at the rear. And lastly, for options, it may take items from the Blood Angels vehicle equipment list. So, the Rhino, it is the quintessential transport of all Space Marine chapters. It is sort of the workhorse of a lot of armies, and a lot of people use them because, frankly, they're cheap, they're useful, and they get your Marines from point A to point B and protect them from enemy fire. That's basically the general gist of what a Rhino does and what it's meant to do. In this case, Blood Angels, have slightly better Rhinos. Our Rhinos are 10 points more than the generic Space Marine ones are. However, we do have overcharged engines, which means that our Rhinos are fast, which means we can move 12 inches in the movement phase and still fire up to 2 weapons that the Rhino has at full Ballista skill. Now, that's not so much a benefit for the Rhino, but as we move further on within the Codex, you're going to see things like Predators and stuff that are fast, where, having, a Predator, that can move up 12 inches and then fire 2 of its weapons at full Ballista skill will be awesome. But taking it back to the Rhino here for a second. Rhino can definitely benefit from that with its Stormbolter, and as far as things you can equip it with, you could go with a second Stormbolter if you really just wanted some more DACA firepower on it, although frankly if you were going to do that, I would actually opt for something more like a Razorback if you really wanted to have that sort of mechanized style list. Not that you can't give your Rhino 2 Stormbolters, it's just if you really wanted more firepower, I would look at something like a Razorback that would be much more effective at doing that instead of just a basic Rhino. But as far as what you can give your Rhino to sort of improve its battlefield role, Hunter-Killer Missile is what I like to put on mine. As a matter of fact, I like to put it on most of my vehicles, and this is really just for some anti-vehicle support. As I mentioned before, Blood Angels, we tend to run infantry-heavy lists unless we're going something like Lucifer Armor Task Force and Angel's Blade. And while we do like our Melta guns and Inferno pistols, we have to get really close to sort of dish out the damage. And while we do have jump packs, sometimes our guys are open and we can still, take a lot of fire getting that close. And so I personally like to have a Hunter-Killer Missile on my Rhinos just for some anti-vehicle support. Sure, it's 1 shot for 10 points, but it's Strength 8 AP3 with an infinite range. So as long as you can draw a line of sight, then you can, take that shot. As far as some other things, really, the only other thing I can think of that can be beneficial is the Dozer Blade, and those are for getting over those pesky bushes that are on the tabletop that immobilize your Rhino. And really, nothing sucks more than getting caught on a bush or something, and having to take a dangerous terrain check and then failing that, and then it's like, oh shit, my vehicle is immobilized. I mean, it's bad enough with rhinos, there's other things that can happen too. Your predators or your land raiders. Nothing is worse than that. So at least with the dozer blade, you can just sort of mitigate that and sort of keep that out of your life. There's some couple other things to sort of mention here concerning the Rhino. The Rhino, can be used as a transport, certainly, but it can also be used as almost like a mobile shield for other units. And I say that because, assuming you keep it, cheap enough, it's, I hate to say that, everything is, or that anything is expendable, but realistically speaking, the Rhino is there to get your tacticals or your assault marines or whatever you have inside of that Rhino from point A to point B. Whatever happens to the Rhino itself is secondary or maybe even tertiary. Just to to go over a couple ideas. You can like I said, use the Rhino as a shield to sort of block line of sight from an enemy unit to another one of your units. So let's say you wanted to deploy your tactical marines on an objective after you get done driving up to it. Regardless of whether you move 6 or 12 inches, you disembark your marines, and you can position the Rhino in front of the marines or just off to the left or just off to the right to sort of block line of sight from your enemy's units that could potentially harm your tactical marines. Additionally, you could also do that with vehicles too. Say you have a predator that you need to move up to a position to get a line of sight on your enemy's vehicles. You can move the Rhino sort of ahead of it or to the side to sort of block line of sight and have your Rhino take the hits for the predator. That way your predator can safely move into position. Also, you could also kind of do that with the land raider. Although you won't be able to completely cover the land raider, you can at least give yourself that 5-up cover save by positioning the Rhino ahead of the land raider. That way, if your opponent wanted to shoot your land raider, you have a cover save given to you by your Rhino. That's really just about all I got for this video. Honestly, I think the Rhino, like I said, it's your go-to transport as far as Space Marines are concerned, regardless of any of the flavors. And really, I would say just keep it cheap, and generally speaking, you really can't go wrong with it. So that's all I got for this video. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.